Suzanne Uchmakliolu, Inclusive Design Specialist.
At Foster & Partners, we believe the built environment should be for everyone. We champion inclusive design as a holistic approach, striving to embed inclusive thinking from strategy to completion. Thinking beyond technical code compliance and embracing diversity in mind, body, and space. Over the last 18 months, we have seen the emergence of new guidance across the built environment, underpinning an evolution from conventional checklists, templates, and legal compliance. We are on a journey to bring diverse, disability-led perspectives into Foster & Partners' inclusive design guidance in order to better understand how people experience the built environment and our projects. Working closely with Sociability, who help disabled people find accessible places, we revisited Imperial War Museum with Saida Ahmed, Isaac Harvey, Dr. Amy Kavanagh and Christopher Lang. The conversations we had with them will feed back into our design guidance for future projects.
Wheelchair users Saida Ahmed, a black mixed-race woman, and Isaac Harvey, MBE, a black man, approach a museum.
And I think this is the entrance.
It's a bit small. God. Can you fit?
Yep.
Titles appear: Experience My Journey, Co-Designing Inclusive and Resilient Futures.
It is big though, it's nice.
Yeah.
My dad will love this place because he's an architect.
Okay,
he loves to
interesting.
draw buildings.
Okay, good go forward.
Blonde Dr. Kavanagh climbs some stairs.
And that's a landing. It's a non-automatic door.
Dr. Amy's guide dog leads her through the front entrance. Wearing a grey hat, black Christopher Lang and a white female BSL interpreter stroll through an atrium. The view
Okay.
focuses on signage indicating different entrances.
Oh, this is nice.
It's cool though. Hi there. Hi. Thank you. Yes, good, thank you.
Isaac's been great help because I would have got lost.
A guide greets them at the side entrance. Inside the museum, flooded with natural light, in front of cameras, Head of Community Sociability, Jenny Berry, also a wheelchair user, interviews Isaac.
Thanks so much for joining us, Isaac. It's been really exciting to have you part of this project with Foster & Partners and Sociability. And is there any highlights in relation to the space itself?
Yeah, it was nice to go around and know there was enough space for my wheelchair. Alongside Sadie, who also is a wheelchair user, we could go side by side and actually experience it together.
You don't often get to be in a disabled friendly place because you're often the only wheelchair user in the room and you have to overly advocate for yourself.
Christopher signs.
The sight lines here are very good. It's really good for me to see everything. When I arrive and I first come into the building, it's very good to be able to see each space.
Amy.
As a blind person, obviously a lot of your beautiful visuals are somewhat lost on me. So for me, it's more about how a space feels and how I navigate within a space. And I found the diversity and creativeness about the different spaces really interesting.
Chris.
I think it makes me feel like I have a sense of what's happening and what's going on around me. I don't have to worry about what's around the corner. That's really important for me. The visual aspect for the deaf community is so important.
It felt really spacious, actually. I felt really free in terms of being a wheelchair user. If it's really spacious, then you can really have a good time and explore properly.
Acoustics are really interesting for me. So when you're standing at the different levels, sort of being near the atrium space, you can hear and sort of feel people moving around different levels because of the way that the sound is being carried up, which is something I find particularly engaging in a building.
Amy and Christopher view the exhibits.
I think it's nice in museums to have spaces like this where you can pause and, take a moment.
The BSL interpreter relays Amy's comments to Christopher.
Okay.
There's no tactile paving at all anywhere around any stairs that I found. On one set of stairs, there were not handrails on both sides, but the complete absence of any tactile indication on those stairs made me not want to use them. So I would then prefer to use the lift, but there is no auditory information to tell me which floor I've arrived at. So again, in both of those scenarios, my independence is completely stripped away.
Christopher, founder of the Deaf Architecture Front.
Well, the lifts, I would say, it's in general not very good for us. It makes you nervous to get in a lift, because if I was to be trapped in a lift, how would I communicate? How would I communicate in that small space?
Isaac.
I can't press the button myself, so having voice activated or sensory lifts to be able to go on floors more independently would be really great.
Colour's very important to me as an autistic person, and I feel like the brighter a room is, like if it was yellow or orange for example, it can feel more welcoming. I love natural lighting because I feel like with artificial lighting it can become quite in your face, whereas natural lighting you can feel quite warmly embraced and you can feel like your most authentic self in a room, you know.
Light is something I'm very sensitive to, hence the snazzy shades. But I liked the different ways that light was used to create environments. You know, up here we've got all this beautiful, natural, open, uplifting light. And then light has been used to create moods and journeys throughout the building. The entryway to the toilets underneath the stairs, you have a dark understair area going into a dark corridor. You need some better underlighting under that stairway to show even-sighted people. That is a shifting head height.
Saida.
The entrance itself to enter here, like you've got stairs in the front and then all the wheelchair users have to go at the back. It felt quite othering because I want to be just like everyone else where I can enjoy and enter with everyone else.
For the toilet signs, it's a bit confusing that the male side, I think it was for the changing places, and the female side was for the accessible toilet. It felt like only males could go to that side and females could go to that side.
As an adult disabled person, like we need our privacy, and often our privacy is completely ignored because we need help. And I feel like changing places can make me feel quite dignified because I can have my own privacy as a disabled adult.
It's much bigger for space-wise. I have a much better turning circle for my wheelchair. I'll do a little twirl for you.
Isaac inspects the disabled toilet.
I'm able to get around much easier. To distinguish the two and how important they are, I think it's really important for architects to know about it. Yeah, that's changing places, and the difference really is much more space and better equipment for people of varying disabilities.
I'll let you go first.
Cool.
Isaac reverses out of a lift and Saida follows him. Later, Jenny interviews disability activist and access professional Dr. Amy.
Sorry, thank you.
Thinking about how those within the design space can potentially go beyond compliance to not only make something functional but make something which allows people to feel included within the space. Is there any specific pointers that you could maybe speak a little bit more about?
Accessibility doesn't have to be ugly. Like, it can still be beautiful, it can still be refreshing, exciting, exploratory.
I'm hoping going forward that they will involve us in conversations before the planning's even started, because I feel having conversations like this are so important, and also getting a variety of voices to the table because everyone's experiences is different from one another. Having that understanding, like if we work together we can make a real difference to make positive impact on a lot of people.
In general, I think for architects, I don't think there's enough resources in looking into deaf spaces. Deaf spaces have 5 principles. The first is vibrations. The second is reflection of light. Third, transparency. Fourth, sensory outreach. And then fifth, peripheral. From my experience of doing the deaf architecture front, there isn't much out there. There isn't much resources. And so if you are to enable deaf people to give the feedback, then that would make things more accessible.
Christopher studies an exhibit.
We are not imagined as disabled people to be consumers, to be parents, to be museum visitors. And that's why we have to physically be in the room, to be frankly a reminder of our existence and our needs. But we're considered exemplary or specific or unique, rather than the 15% of the global population that we are. And the powerful thing about access is, take Jenny and myself, our access needs are vastly different. We need to both be in the room because we will both offer different solutions, different perspectives. I can go into a design conversation with an autistic person or somebody who uses a power chair, and they will raise a barrier and they will talk about a solution. And the barrier is completely different, but the solution works for both of us. And often they are such creative, fun, interesting opportunities that I would love architecture, I would love design, not to see co-production as a chore, as a tick box, as a necessary, but as a joyful opportunity for true creativity and innovation, because disabled people are fantastic problem solvers. And we will add to your design, we are not going to take away from it.
Finishing a conversation, Christopher shoots Jenny a warm smile. Later, the group exits the museum together. Titles appear: Experience My Journey, Co-Designing Inclusive and Resilient Futures. A collection of logos for the Imperial War Museum, Sociability and Foster & Partners flash up on the screen.